having the. I mean, and I guess it's fine to have the entertaining conversation. I mean, if we were not in COVID, we'd be at each other's houses, probably passing things and drinking things together and having some conversations like this. But now that we're in COVID, it's like it puts things in perspective about what kind of conversations are we really having and how tangible can they be versus just having them just to have them. Because we shooting the breeze is great, but I mean, like you said, solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all saying it's cute at 2. I think at 12 is that gonna be cute. At 22 is that gonna be cute. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen. Heck 'em before life wreck 'em. That's my message.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Jeez.
Speaking of ways to discipline your kids, there was a video of this woman, and they were in the bathroom, or her son was in the bathroom or something. She made him do push-ups as a discipline. So, I mean, like, there are ways to discipline that don't require hitting, but also if they refuse to do that, then what? Then what do you do? But I know in Asia, in like school, they would make, if there's something, if the child is out of order, basically they'll make them stand on the side, maybe in the hallway or in the corner of the room, and squat, or stand on one leg, or do something of that sort where everyone can see them.
Yeah, my dad used to have us hold our left leg with our left leg with my right hand, and then my left hand with my left ear. And that's how we set the stand. And don't you fall. Don't fall.
I had no punishment. I had to be my own disciplinarian since I was like 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just like, girl, you gonna let me? Okay, well, let me just protect myself since you just gonna sign permission slips. Like, that was my mom. Like, she completely disconnected from that part. Her thing was like, she wanted to make sure we had a good time all our life.
Oh, okay, okay.
Girl.
Did she have like did she grow up in a strict household?
Yes.
Okay. So she's like, I can't I'm
She was like, she grew up in St. Catherine, Kingston, and and when one person did something, they all got whooping.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
Because the other person should have saw and should have did this, and y'all should have did this, and everybody got whooping. So she was like, very like to herself. She wasn't antisocial, but you had to go look for her to find her.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's just funny how sometimes what the intention is and it ends up being the opposite. Like I think that happened to a lot. Like my parents, while they were strict, they were also like liberal too. But when it came down to like my older siblings, so they kind of got away with doing a lot of things. But then when it came down to the younger ones, me in particular, and my other sister who's like just 3 years older than me, like both of us were just like, she had a little wiggle room, but both of us we kind of had like ball and chain, like we couldn't do a whole lot. And we did used to get reprimanded. But when it came down to me, they was like, "Oh, you can't date nobody until you're 18. Like, don't even." So I'd be with boys. I'm like, "Listen, I can't have a boyfriend, but you can be my friend." We find ways. Kids do find ways.
Sneaky things.
Well, listen. That's why I tell people do research, study, do the things, because I already know that we're in this generation now. But I have friends, the police, and they told me there's a bunch of applications where you can, like, before you give to your kids the phone, install this app. You can hide it. This application, they cannot be able to see this application unless it's you. But you can see with the testing, what they're doing, where they're at, if they're talking to somebody as in the internet, or they're talking to some predator. They give you all the alerts. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. And the police, actually, my friend, he's a police. He told me he had that with his daughter. I was like, damn, that's crazy. I was like, that's a good idea to have that to your kids, man.
Mm.
Mm, I just, I am not ready. I'm not ready.
You know what it is, Chan? I remember people telling me like, "Oh, wait until you get a teenager," and I'm like, "Wait until I get a teenager. I'm dealing with these toddlers right now, okay? And
Yeah.
they're enough, right?" And then I don't think we actually had the experience of them because again, we didn't. My daughter wasn't out and about just like with her friends all the time. Now we offered. We're like, listen, if you do what you need to do, we'll take you to go out and hang out with your friends and on the mall at the mall on the weekends. But
Hmm.
she wouldn't do what she needed to do, so she never saw her friends on the weekends. And that's another thing. Like, yes, it's important for our kids to socialize, but if they love to socialize, that's what their thing is, but they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then you don't get what you want. It's just you put the effort in and you can get the social to be social. And I know my sister, she'll be like, so y'all not gonna do nothing? Y'all not gonna do nothing for the kids? No, they have food, they have shelter, they have love, they have a they have a lot. I don't have to give them anything more if they didn't earn it. And when they become adults, if they want more, they work for it. But I'm not setting them up to be like expecting anything. Don't expect anything. You go and work for it.
Yes. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 16 and I was working.
Yep, me too.
And I want my daughters to be the same way.
Yeah,
Does that make me a horrible parent? No. It's just the way I want them to be. I want them to be aware that the phone costs this much. I need
yeah,
to use money and get this. And then I have to wait before I can do anything else with the phone because I have a phone bill coming up that will cost this much.
yeah,
And um, that's how I respected my things. And I think now kids just get too much up front without the work where they just expect just because you have a card, you just swipe it and then I could get this. No,
mhm,
there's something else that goes with this card and being able to swipe. So it's like a whole thing, but maybe it'll change over time, but for right now, it's a no for me.
yeah.
So before I keep going through these messages, because they're not going to go anywhere, um, we do the as a mother I do not allow list because I have 10 things I do not allow, and I want you to do two, and then I'll do two, and then we'll play some messages, and then
Okay.
keep. Okay, so the first two things I do not allow as a mother is I do not allow my 7-year-old to have a phone. She has, I have friends who are around her age that have phones. They have TikTok, they
Mm,
have
no,
Instagram, they
no.
can go on, the internet and go on YouTube. They get their nails done
Oh,
with their mom, and she's just like, well, such and such has this, and I'm just like, so you don't have that, so I don't do that. Number two, I do not allow any cussing, not even if you're explaining something. My mom would let me cuss if I was explaining, oh, they told me this. No, you still use like they told me the S word or they told me the F word. You know what I'm saying? I need that type of boundary for them
yeah,
to, and like we don't have a normal conversation like this, so this is your limit. Do what you need to do within your limit. So those are my two things that I don't allow as a mom.
yeah. I mean, I concur on the cell phone. I'm with you on that. That's one of them. I just don't think it's necessary. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we've made as parents is thinking that we need to have an excuse. And some of it I think is just kind of like, flossing. That's a
Mhm.
flossing. Parents like I can afford to give my children an iPhone for what? Okay. Two is I don't allow my children to lie. I mean, sure, you can try it, but we're gonna have the court is going to be in session. Okay,
Like,
it's going to be a good hour and a half of 2 hours, maybe
mm,
however long you want to be here, of
mm,
you drilling and digging down into why you decided that this was the intention and the character that you want to represent today,
I
and then
agree.
a whole crying situation, and then a whole apologizing situation, and we have understanding. And yeah, I want to lie the lies. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Let's play these messages and then we'll do some more.
In terms of the topic and kids acting grown, they're conditioning kids to do exactly that. And they're teaching it in schools now, like basically question your parents. Like basically disobey your parents if you think that they're wrong. And of course they're going to think that you're wrong because they don't like what you're doing. And so they're really like teaching that in schools, society's teaching that. Just in a lot of places, they're definitely giving this defy authority movement, but also they don't want you to think. They want you to react emotionally. So you're reacting emotionally and disobeying at the same time, which does not equal good things.
That's society though. They want soldiers of men and not thinkers of war.
Yeah.
And soldiers of men, they just do what they're told. Thinkers of war know when they need to get up and fight and when that's not even worth it. So I think as parents, it's our job to challenge our children to think.
Yeah.
Because you spend a lot of excess energy doing first without thinking, and then some things you can't go back and fix and some things you can, and sometimes you are allowed the time to look at the lesson, and sometimes you're just like, man,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't have reacted first, so
Yeah.
giving them the tools to think for themselves.
Yeah, and then also not even letting them get away with excuses. Like, while kids try to manipulate their parents, they also try to manipulate themselves and try to tie themselves into some kind of circle. Like my youngest daughter, I will watch her do something in front of my face. I don't know, maybe it's like make a mess, and I'm like, "Oh, Karina, can you clean up that mess?" She's like, "I didn't make the mess." Girl,
That's my 3-year-old dog. Yes.
I literally just stood here. I know you felt my eyes on you because now you're trying to figure out a way to get out of this and watched you. Okay, court is now in session. Let's all, the investigation's happening. Let's do this. If you want to go that route, and she'll be exhausted and she'll still find a way to like excuse, well, I didn't I didn't remember what I had when I don't remember how it fell. You
Yeah.
had it in your hand. It fell on the table. The mess happened. All
Yeah.
I'm asking you to do is clean it up.
Yeah.
So,
In
yeah.
order for me to get like my 3-year-old to clean all the way, like, all right, you got 10 seconds to get these toys up the floor. I'm gonna get in the trash bag or a belt.
Yeah.
Why
And
can't
sometimes
you
you
just
gotta
clean
threaten them.
up?
Yeah. You got to threaten them sometimes. I mean, if it works, let it keep working.
Ugh. Can we go outside? Yep, but all these toys gotta be cleaned up.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I just refuse to have the house of the lady with the kids, and then you walk through my door and you know I got kids.
Yeah.
That's not ever gonna be my house.
Yeah. And you got to teach them early. Like, people don't realize, like, and that's the thing, too, because I know the dynamic of parenting could be, I think fathers, like Kevin's very, very soft on our daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little soft on well, I wouldn't say a little soft on on my sons, but I recognize that because they were boys, they were more emotional than my daughters were. Like, I don't think people realize that boys are a lot more emotional when they're younger than girls. They show their emotions a lot more in anger, the tantrums, the running in the room, shutting the door. Ah, you like, oh my God, where did you do that? How many times I heard my son slam the door and, ah,
Mm-hmm.
who are you, little
The
boy?
Hulk.
Okay, you are not a man. You don't get to, all of your life ain't that hard. You don't got to work. You got nothing, you know. So I used to kind of like, okay, let me sit down and talk to you. And then with my girls, I was like, listen, expectations are high. Like, as a when you become a woman, you still have to operate in a way that is responsible in terms of how you hold yourself up. You still have to have a level of grace. You still have to have, nobody's going to give you a pass and be like, well, you're a woman and we feel sorry for you. They're not going to do that. Like, you just have to be prepared to, to hold your own and deal with your stuff. And then with our boys, I had to kind of tell them, okay, listen, you got to talk through your emotions. Like, why are you upset? What made you upset? How could you have dealt with this differently? And Kevin would be like, I ain't got time for that. Sometimes I just want to go rope these just yoke these little boys up and just jack them up. And I'm like, we're not. So you're saying that you want our boys to end up in prison like my brothers did? Because that's how my dad dealt with the situation. He yoked them up, and he squared up with them. And I never wanted that to be the experience that my boys had to go through, because I don't think, when you have Jamaican parents or people of a certain age and a certain generation, your boys can't be wimps. They can't be soft. They can't be this. They can't be that. And that's dangerous, I think. I think that's why so many boys have found themselves in prison, because we haven't really taken the time to listen to their emotional problems that they have and deal with them for what they are. So that's something I always was very sensitive about. Like, don't meet their anger, their emotions with violence, because
Yeah.
it's not really helping them. The boys, at least. The girls, sometimes you gotta.
Yeah, there's a lot of young men in prison right now because they were always taught you had to fight to show that you're a man in the situation and not get out of the situation being a man, but choosing a different solution method.
Yeah, yeah.
So, that's a fact.
Kids these days are way too advanced beyond their years.
Yes.
Like the stuff I see them doing on, these apps, TikTok, going live on Instagram. Like, I don't understand the parents. They're obviously not supervising their kids, because first off, they shouldn't be going live on Instagram when there's a lot of, grown men and pedophiles on there that, can groom and...
Yes, I agree.
Didn't you do push-ups yesterday? That's why your stomach hurts. You're hilarious.
No, that's real talk. It's like, because somebody asked him the question, like, what turns you into the man you are today? Why are you so, disciplined and all that stuff? And all you got to say is rice and beans. that's dope.
Oh my goodness. Come on, perspective.
Listen. I was kind of strong, but because I used to do RTC, they used to put me in a military school, so I was strong, but not strong enough to do that. I quit mostly all the time. I learned my lesson, and I do it. And after little by little, I learned the discipline, and I basically started respecting my mom, because if not, it go worse. My grandmother had different ideas to make me
I'm correct.
suffer mentally. So yeah, there's a lot of trick. You don't have to hit them. You can use that idea to them, and trust me, they will learn. They will really learn.
Another thing that he made me think about is women who probably raise their son solo. Their son gets past the puberty stage, and then they start to say, you got to do X, Y, and Z around the house now because you're the man of the house.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell your boy that he's the man of the house when he's not a man and not your man. Hey moms, are you looking for something stylish to put on, some good accessories, and some must-haves for women? Things that make sense, that snatch us in the right way. Okay, look no more. Chris has you set up, okay? Check out shopicon.com. SHOPICCON.com. Chris is a mom doing it in her own way, okay? She's giving moms like me momentum to go ahead and do our thing. All right. I look up to her. I love her. She's very funny. Check out her podcast. Is It Tuesday? Okay. Really real, really good. You can find her and her products on the site. She has shoes, intimate gear, and new arrivals and more. She even has some vintage-like items on Once Upon a Time. Okay, has some great pieces and they do go fast. So pay attention and make sure you know when she's about to do a drop. Okay, my favorite items that she has that I'm always reading up on is definitely those satin line caps. Okay, because when the hair is done and the hair is moisturized, you can get the things done. So please check her out and follow her on IG at shop.icon. Peace. Check out www.whoisshan.com. Now back to my show.
Here we go.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
Man, because
Yeah.
you can't be mad at the fact that he's talking to you in a we equal sense, right?
Yeah.
So we just have to be mindful of what titles we give and how that comes across in kids' minds.
Yeah. And I remember I used to have a friend of mine who used to, a coworker, I should say too, that she used to complain about her son. He was like 7, 8. He was definitely a problem child. And she'd be like, oh, he just be acting like he my man and up underneath me. And I'm like, you're talking about your first grader?
Yeah.
And then when he got to like, I don't know, fourth grade or third grade or whatever it was, like he started, like his behavior started to get worse and he would do other stuff. And then she'd be like, oh, like, I mean, like he need to act like he the man, he the only man in the house right now. And I'm like, you're talking about your fourth grader? Oh, oh, okay. And the crazy thing about it is that her son's father was like very, not clingy, but very close to his mother. And she would complain about like how her son's father's mother would always be like in the mix about everything. Like she basically like, had the tite in his mouth. And,
Mm-hmm.
and while she's saying this, and a lot of the times I would just sit down and listen because I'm like, I would always get hit with, don't judge me. I'm like, so I can't say nothing. Okay, so then you just want me to sit here and listen to you tell me about your first grader and your fourth grader being old enough to be the man of the house and behaving in the way that you want him to be.
I would have checked out to that whole discussion. I'll check that.
I asked her about it. I was like, so, you maybe in a way you're sort of setting, you're kind of mimicking what you saying you don't like in your son's father's mother, because you're doing exactly the same thing to your son that she was doing to her son, which is putting him in a position where he's still a baby, but then also setting expectations that he should be the man of the house. That's confusing. He's either the baby when he's the baby, or he's a child when he's a child. And then when he becomes a man, he's a man of his own house. And it never registered. So here we are.
God.
Too much.
I don't believe in whipping kids as a form of discipline. I don't think it changes anything. I think it just will eventually, make the child grow more and more angry. And there's other ways to discipline them, like taking things away from them. If they have a, PlayStation or video games, whatever, take it away from them. If they have a phone, take it away from them. But yeah, I don't agree with abusing the kids.
Every parent has a method. I
Yeah.
welcome it. I welcome it.
And that's the thing too. Like, you're gonna know when your child is not responding to a spanking.
Yeah.
Change it up, right? Some kids do respond back to that, like, I will never do it again. I don't need a spanking. Thank you. I learned it. I'm good.
The threat will be enough.
Sometimes a threat exactly is enough. And I mean, I agree that, I think culturally, us in the U.S., like, we've learned spanking because of slavery. Like, that was been, like, Kevin was talking about this earlier, that in Trinidad, they spank you with the broom, like this wicker. Like, it's not wicker. It's like, them, them outside brooms.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's like some kind of torture tool or something. I don't know. But they rub it against the kids so they can know, like, when I beat you with this is what you're gonna feel.
Listen, have you ever got slapped on the back of your leg with a stick?
A switch?
No, a stick, like a
No,
like some type of like handle, kind of like the thickness of a broom.
no,
Oh, you
no.
talk about the collapse of 11.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness, I felt like my legs was gonna fall off.
Oh my God.
Listen.
No, no. I got hit by a 2x4 before, but I was my brother hit me with a 2x4. He
And
waited for me at the door, and as soon as I opened the door, plunk, that knocked the shit out of me.
I can't say anything because I have thrown weights across the room to my brother for like just, satisfaction. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
Candy. Oh, you must think shit sweet around here, huh? Candy.
He talked about the lady telling the lady
Yeah.
her child candy.
That don't make no sense. What the candy gonna do to just even having to say it? I would have just died laughing, I think, and I would have just left. You know what? I'll give you the push.
When you have company and your child know that they have things they cannot have, and then they start asking you why you got company.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
is queen of that. I said, Anya, you know Chrissy ain't guess. I will whoop you. Okay. And she's like, oh, okay.
What's up, chocolate?
What's up?
Hey guys, just want to share with you guys a quick experience I had. I'm a new parent. I'm actually a teen parent. I'm 19.
Woo.
And I'm having a lot of trouble. You could say that I'm stupid, but I didn't know that the babies start pooping right as they come out. I thought that was more like when they turn 8 or something. So I am having a little trouble with that. But other than that, I'm having a great time. Thank you so much. Love the podcast.
Hey.
I'm sorry to laugh this one out, but so I don't know what you have, if it's a boy or a girl. If it's a boy, just expect pee's gonna come whenever it needs to come. There's a lot of things to expect that you don't know. Of course, if you have a boy, I did not know that, and I'm saying this not in the context because, of course, we have to be sensitive that there are people out here that will hear different things and react to them in a different way. But I'm saying this just as a parent, and unfortunately, I feel bad that I even have to premise this way. But I didn't know that baby boys actually do have erections.
Yes.
And I asked my husband when I first saw my son, I was like, "What is this? What is wrong with you all?
Extendo.
What is this?" And he just be peeing everywhere. I'm like, I just can't. Like, I can't. But no, yes, sir, your baby is going to be pooping everywhere all the time. And yeah,
When I first had Anya, every time I would go to change her wet diaper, she would spray shit me. Only me, though. So if my mom went to go change her, just she changed her diaper, she peed, she's dry now. If I went to go change her,
so she just waiting for you. I can't stand this lady.
oh, what is this? So yeah, beware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations,
Yes.
it's a long, bumpy road. I hope you learned some things from now because
Listen.
19 and a baby it's definitely rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
Listen, another thing my mom did, and believe it or not, I disrespected my mom so hard that I crossed my line to her. And my mom was like, "You want to act like grown?" So I did go to school, right? And when I came back, my mom have 7 t-shirts, 7 pants, 7 underwear,
What?
and socks, and a brisket and the brief. And Mama's like, you see this, the bachelor in the bag? You see that bag? I need you to grab those, and you need to get out. And your mom kicked me out for 7 days.
Oh.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing, bro. When I came back in 3 days. I was crying, and trust me, that's another discipline. But
Yeah.
you cannot do that now. You know.
Listen, you know his mom from not from America.
Yes.
That is something that an island parent would do. Oh, you grown? Okay, here, bye.
She
You
trusted the Lord, okay?
one time I had to threaten Anya to put her outside, and so she can have her own thing. Because she said something under her breath. She was like, I can't wait to get older so I could just do what I want. Okay, so I need you to take off everything I bought, and then you could leave. He's like, I can't go outside like this. I said, why not? She was like, please don't put me outside. I said, okay, so just do what I asked you to do. I shouldn't ask you. You don't do anything for me. So don't listen.
That's a good threat, though, to threaten them to be like, because we used to threaten them to say, listen, if you don't do what you need to do, you're going to sleep in the garage.
I said, you
On,
could leave, but you just need to take off everything I bought.
yeah. Girl, my dad one time threatened me that way. He was like, listen, we moved into this new house, and he was like, listen to me. The next time you do something, you don't keep your room clean, because I had to share with my niece. But I was in West Indian households. If you
Listen,
are you are held responsible for everything. It don't matter what the youngest did. You're
yep,
supposed to control and handle it. And my niece used to be a mess. And I remember was one time she left. She was playing with my doll or something and put the doll back. My dad saw that. He was like, "Oh, you're sleeping in the garage." I thought he was joking. I was like, He's bluffing. He's not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sleep in the garage. Girl, lo and behold, I was right on that. I was right on that table in the garage with a sheet. And my brother's was like, "You need another blanket?" I was like, "Can you save me? Don't ask me I need a blanket. Speak for help." Girl, that was the worst.
listen, the things we do.
Yeah.
I forgot that the time that the rice and the beans and all that was when I was basically 11 years old. Yep.
Okay.
Because I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was 7 years old. So my mom raised me for a couple of years, and then she found out I was very annoying. And then there was a point that my mom got tired, and it's time for discipline. And then she disciplined me, but she disciplined me hitting. But this time she disciplined me mentally, and I stroked me. So I learned my lesson, and I'm proud that my mom did all that, because at the end of the day, I am the man that I am now. So I love my mom. Yes. Shalom for my mother.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah. My dad used to say, tough love is the best love.
Yes. All right, hey Ruth, give me two more off of your as a mother I do not allow list.
The two more as a mother I do not allow list. I do not allow my children to just go and play with anybody.
Hey.
I don't know them. I don't care if their mom comes here and I meet them for the first time. I don't know them.
Right.
Just not going to happen. Another thing that I do not allow my children to do is to be in their rooms with the door closed, although they will try it because they're hiding electronics.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I like. Nope. There's, if I could take the hinges off, I would, but I feel like at this point, now. Don't let me pass. Mm-mm.
Okay. I tell my kids to close their door because I don't want to hear them. My number 3 thing is no IG and no TikTok. I don't care how it looks. That's a no for me. You can't regulate that stuff.
Yeah.
Number 4, no City Girls and no Meg. Sometimes at the camp, they get to like listen to music, and that's where she heard one of Meg's popular songs, and she keeps playing. I'm just like, no, ma'am. She was like, they played it at the camp. I said, well, I wasn't there at the camp to regulate, and I'm not playing it.
Yeah.
It's not because Meg's a horrible person or whoever these city girls are is a horrible person. It's nothing that I would want my child to be doing or saying as a child. So that's a no for me.
But then on that topic, right, of being able to say that, and that's one thing that this is a pet peeve that bothers me about other parents. When you do say something like, you know what, I don't let my child listen to, why? Girl, they ain't saying nothing. Excuse me? Excuse me. Mm-mm. Just because you and your mom together sing this together doesn't mean that everybody and their mom together has to sing this together. Like,
But you know what's so crazy? The same moms that let their child dance, well, she's cute, or
mm-hmm,
pose, do a routine or whatever, they
mm-hmm,
the ones that, man, I done whooped her for like 5 times for the same thing. She still
yep,
won't listen. I asked her to do this. She still won't listen. I
yep,
do this. Talk back. She thinks she grown. She in my, my makeup. She in this.
yep,
But you let her feel comfortable to do those things. It was
yeah,
cute when you was taking the picture. It was cute for the TikTok.
yeah,
It was cute for the post. You can't say, okay, we friends today, and then on Wednesday be like, no, I'm a parent. You have to do this. And today I'm not asking, I'm telling it. You got to confuse the kid.
yeah. And
I'm
I
just
don't think they realize
every
that they're confusing them. I think that they think that they're just being a part of the culture. And it's like, okay, so who's going to stand up and say, okay, yes, this is a part of the culture, but I don't have to choose to be a part of this part of the culture. And I feel like there's not enough parents that are willing to stand up to say, I don't need to go along. I remember when the WAP thing came out, and I was just seeing a bunch of children, like
yeah.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, singing the song with their grandmothers and their mothers. Like, it's not, there's got to be a standard. We trying to be a community out here, and then nobody wants to really have the standard. So, girl, it's just wild. It's
Hmm.
wild.
Madness.
Yo, speak the truth and speaking that truth tonight, yo. Florida
Yeah,
is like a lost clown. Think about it. That's very, very deep, but it's very, very true when you really look deep into it and use your imagination and picture a lost clown. Yeah, you on point today, my dude.
yeah, I concur.
That's a fact.
In terms of music, there's definitely a lot of ways you can go. There's covers that you can find and download from, YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever. There's instrumentals, like you said. There's remixes where they take all the cuss words out. There's parodies, or not even parodies, I guess covers or parodies where they change the words. There's I don't know if it's lo-fi or lo-fi, L-O-F-I. That's a type of music where how do I describe it? It's just, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a type of music where there's no words, it's just instrumentals.
Mm,
And a lot of people listen to it to study or clean or cook or just in the background or for whatever. And there are hours, like 8, 10, 12, 24-hour long playlists that you can find and find a new song.
that's interesting.
Let me tell you something. I give my girls at least 2 hours of kid bop a day or every 3 days. How much long I could take, and it's hard for me. But I just don't want them to get in the habit of listening to the same music I listen to, because not all the music that I listen to is for them. So
Yeah,
they're a kid version of this popular song. Okay, let me just play it on there because I don't got to worry about it. So
right.
that is another thing where you have to give up what you actually would want to listen to for the sake of your kids being around.
What do you? Let me ask you this too. Have you remember? Did you have you Do you go on Pinterest a lot?
No, I don't understand Pinterest, and it's just like I don't want nobody giving me a place to post what I like on it in that way. It's just
Yeah.
very. Uh, but when I Google things, I stumble upon Pinterest.
Okay. So I like Pinterest because I love nails. Like, I just love nail design, nail polish. I'm just obsessed with nail polish. But I remember in some of the feeds that would come in would be like little girls dressed as like with this. You remember that? Okay, you remember that Beyonce? Was it the Beyonce? Was it the Destiny's Child video? Where at the end, I think it might have been the remix to Bootylicious,
Yes.
and the little girls came in the end and they dressed like little like baby dolls. Like they had little girls dressed like the version of Kelly and the version of Beyonce
Mhm.
and the version of Michelle. And you're like, oh, that's so cute. Okay, it was cute. Yeah, okay. And then when I just started seeing the feeds of like, I'm talking about like full on bamboo earrings, little lip gloss, a little bit of blush, a whole like dress wrap, heels on a 5-year-old. And I'm like, okay, we don't, why do we feel like cuteness is when children mimic what adults do?
Mhm.
It's just, why can't kids just be kids? And I
Right.
remember when Kids Bop came out, that was like a big thing. Like, oh my gosh, his music is like, it's just so like kiddie. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's for the kids. That
Mhm.
be glad that there's a version for the kids. I don't know. I just thought that
And
was weird.
just
Like,
that they would run down the steps and try to get the remote for gargoyles, and I was just like, ah, Kids Bop, we got the beat. We're coming to your town and your city and she. You gonna kids songs? Bom bom. I said, oh, we watching this.
yeah,
Boy, they used to hate me, but that's what I wanted to watch.
yeah.
But I feel
Cause
like kids need to have their own thing.
yeah, and I think it's okay for parents to be watching those things with them. Like you should be around your kids and reinforcing for them that you are a child. These are the things that you should be looking at. And I hate YouTube for the fact that, I mean, I love YouTube, but I also hate you.
You know, she was embarrassed. Her life was just so jacked up.
And I'm sure the father blamed her and she was blamed the father. Everybody blaming each other. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so let's do two more. Uh as a mother, I don't allow talking back or interrupting me.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see kids do that.
Yes.
Yank them up like a puppy by their neck. Um and number 6, I don't allow them to download whatever they want.
Yeah. That's problematic because you can't. Well, number one, it's problematic for the viruses alone. I don't know how many computers we got to break before we learn. That
Ari's
left.
but the iPads, like Ari's dad will he don't put no password on nothing. She could download what she want. Ain't no card on there, but at the same time, just like all the games that she has on this iPad are not for her.
Yeah.
And the password on there, and then he'll call me and be like, "What's the password?" So I can take it off. Because he don't want to deal with the fine tuning of Ari, but then I got to deal with the fact that Ari thinks we equals.
Mm. That's that is a tough one when you have a child that believes like, no, you have to understand me because I'm right.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Mine is things that I don't allow as a parent is I don't allow my children to feel like the same thing, like they can talk to people any way they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say that there's not a struggle, right? There definitely is a struggle when it comes down to like, all right, what are you going to say when you're out in public? I've never had a teacher come and tell me like your child's been disrespectful, but I don't like them talking to each other any kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like my oldest daughter, I can hear her, like just the way that she talks to them. She talks down to them like they sometimes I'm like, you can't talk to them like they ain't ish, girl. This is another
Yeah.
you're talking to, especially when you want them to listen to you. Because if you are coming at them, and I take responsibility because she was basically being second mom. She would be like, "Didn't I tell you that? Don't you think that this does that make any sense to you? That's
When I
stupid."
catch Anya doing that, I'm like, you don't talk to her like that. You're not her
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, I can't even. I don't also, number two is I do not allow my children to physically fight with each other anymore. I mean, when they were little, I was like, well, you know what? You might need a little bit of the experience. You're gonna be in elementary school. You might need to know how to do that. You do learn how to fight from the time when you're with your siblings first. But I do not allow them to get physical with each other. They have to solve. We have to go and sit down and talk it out. You need to tell them how you feel. They need to tell how you feel, what the experience was, and how you felt, and then y'all need to come to some kind of conclusion of figuring this out, because you're not going to be able to be out in this world and handle your problems with violence, because you can go to jail. We're not doing jail this. We're not going to do no more jail in here.
Upon facts. Those are year 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna play some more messages and then we'll keep going.
Hello, ladies. Hello. A very good topic. I'm gonna adjust that really quickly. I can't stand seeing little kids act grown. It really does a number on me. I can't watch movies when kids are cursing, especially little kids. I don't think that's cute at all. It literally rubs me the wrong way. But right now, you guys are talking about disciplinary action. So with my kids, 2 of them, I only had to look at them. I looked at them a certain kind of way, and they knew that I wasn't playing with them. Now, mind you, they didn't ever test it to see if I was playing or not, but they just felt like that look was strong enough that they didn't want to test it. Now, my oldest daughter, though, she was the gangster out of the tribe, and she would test my gangster all the time. You understand what I'm saying? I used to have to catch myself, because I'm like, she trying to get me to be walking around in an orange jumpsuit. And I know that ain't fashionable. You understand? There ain't nothing, no kind of fashion I'm willing to rock out with. So I used to have to catch myself with her. But yeah.
There's that will test you. There's always going to be one that's going to be like, you know what? Let me see how far I can go. Let me be the rebel that I'm in this world to be. Those ones, you got to realize you gave them enough, and whatever you do. I told my kids from the time they were probably like, they could understand like police and stuff like that at 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. I was like, anything that you do in life, and I've told you about it, and we've talked about it, and you respond back to me telling me you understand, because you tell me how you understand, you break it down for yourself. If you go and do that, the thing that I tell you not to do, I'm not going to get you out of jail or prison or any trouble. It's going to be your consequence. And don't test me, because I mean it. That's it. You just going to be in there. I'm not one of those parents that are going to go bail you out from jail or prison, unless there's a clearly, false accusation. It would take enough. It would take a lot for me to get that. But I'm not one of them parents that'll be like, I'll go to bat for everything.
Let me say something.
No.
This same rule applies in my adult life and romantic life.
Yeah.
So does it apply for my kids who think they grown and won't listen to me?
Yeah.
I'm not spreading my cheeks for anybody to go and visit nobody to talk through a phone.
Okay.
So just let y'all know now. You two right here do anything that I tell them not to, and they get themselves locked up. They need bail. Call your daddy.
Yeah.
You can't get out, and you need some visits. Maybe your daddy come visit you, but I'm not spreading no cheeks for nobody.
Yeah. It's one of those things, y'all. Our West Indian parents always tell us, I already lived my life. I already went to school. That's it. That's what I'm telling you.
All the time. I did my time. Why do I have to turn in homework on Friday before?
Okay.
Well, okay. 2 more.
Okay.
I don't allow my kids to eat whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that they provide for children to eat today has a lot of chemicals in it that make them act a certain way or delay in thinking. Act sporadically, or it's very addictive where they feel like they need it. My children have never had soda.
Praise you. High five to you.
I don't give them Pop-Tart.
To you.
Any cereal that have marshmallows or cookies in it or added sugars and stuff, they don't have it. I don't feed them pork, not because it's religious. I just don't. It's an unclean animal.
Yeah.
They only have like 1 day a week where they can have candy, and that's Friday, and they have one piece because my mom never gave me a limitation on candy, which is why I'm addicted to it today. The longest I've gone without eating candy is like 3 months. And I think as a parent, your job is to make sure your children are better than you.
Yes.
And they have a better upbringing than you had. And so this is what I have to do to make sure they're better than me. And so I do those things. Is it hard to buy a specific cereal or a specific snack over was the
Yeah.
usual. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to multiple stores when I go grocery shopping, but I do that. I don't want to look at the back of packages and stuff, but I do that because I just don't want my kids eating anything.
Yeah.
I don't give my kids fast food. They've never had McDonald's. They've never had Burger King.
High five to you.
They don't get Lunchables. I don't do none of that stuff.
Hi.
And listen, some parents would probably think I'm crazy. My friends would probably
No.
think I'm crazy when I pack their food that I cooked. But that's what makes me feel like, okay, I did what I needed to do as a mother today.
Yeah. No, you did the right thing. You did.
I
You did.
I don't I don't want my daughters having boobs or having their menstrual cycle way before they're supposed to.
Yeah. No, you definitely did the right thing, and I think that parents who want you to do what they did is just them not wanting to feel bad about what they did. We also did not allow our toddlers or our babies to eat baby food. I mean, my oldest one, she did because we didn't know any better. I was like 19 when I had her, and then after probably when she could eat, because she would eat our food, I'm like, oh, you ready? Okay, well then you can have this. Whatever food we're eating. We did not allow our children to eat processed food. And then one other thing that I don't allow my children now to do is take things or get things without asking. Because
Yeah.
my old, if you did that, it was considered stealing, and you'd
Yeah.
have a whole lecture about stealing, and you'd be like, how am I stealing things in my own house? Because if you go to somebody else's house and you have a habit of taking things without asking, and then something come up missing, guess who they point out? You. And
Girl, that
the
every
thief,
girl
the thief house on the block.
would go to my friend house. She had just moved. We go to her house all the time. And to the point where Anya just got comfortable, too comfortable. And
Mm.
we upstairs. The house has two kitchens, downstairs and upstairs. We were upstairs, and she'll go downstairs, and she was like, Anya just went in my fridge and ate my fish and my fries. I was like, Anya, how you just go in somebody's fridge and eat stuff? Nothing to say, and I just can't do that. And just because that's my best friend, and we come over here all the time, that doesn't give you the the audacity to just go in the fridge and get it. It's not mine. It's not
Yeah.
yours. You didn't buy it. You can't do that. And so even now, I tell her, I said, don't go in my fridge without asking me first. Don't touch this without asking me first. I hate it in the morning when I'm not ready to get up and she come in, she be like, can I have 2 waffles?
Yeah.
Yes, but I need to do it because kids do not have boundaries yet.
No.
You have to instill them. Kids do not have self-discipline yet. You have to do it. Just because you feel like you can eat 4 waffles, should you eat 4 waffles? No, there's other people in the house. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one thing that I think people do miss, because I have friends who be like, what? You make your kids ask for that?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if you don't, they will get into the habit of taking, and there will be a situation where people realize, yeah, she always taking stuff without asking. So she probably one that stole it. No, you don't want to be in them situations. Mm-mm.
And I don't, like you said earlier, I don't let my kids stay over at different people's houses. I don't care if we related.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
You just come with me here this weekend and you could get somebody to watch the kids. Nope. No, I can't.
Mm-mm. Or people that be like, oh, your baby's so cute. I'll watch your baby anytime. Who are you? Why
Yeah.
are you so ready to? No, thank you. I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be super suspicious. Like,
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
mm-mm.
It's just did I as a child I got to sleep over other people's houses, but I
Mhm.
regretted sleeping over my friend's house when I got there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not worth it. It's
No.
not. You'll be
No.
people. Kids will be fine, and I know people who be like, you doing too much. You not letting these kids get exposed to, and what they gonna do when they get older? They'll be older and they'll live their life as an adult and they'll be fine. But what
Yeah.
they have is an experience where they're crying in therapy or just out here living the worst life because they're dealing with their trauma in the worst way. So,
Right.
no, like you
That's the
said,
worst thing. Going over your friend's house and they getting their ass whooped and you just looking like. So we
yeah.
gonna play Scrabble later?
Right. Am I here? Why am I here? Why are you always getting in trouble while I'm here? Can I?
I say, or like you go over their house and their mom's drunk boyfriend is in there going ham on each other, like
Yeah, not it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
And then I'm very particular with smells. I don't like if another person's house smells completely different from mine.
yeah.
I can't sleep. I don't know where I am.
Thought it was me when I was a kid and I would go to like certain houses. Like my dad was a Rastafarian, so a lot of his friends were like Rastafarians, and they have like they're very natural. They don't really
Yes.
use a lot of like fragrance and all this stuff. And I remember just like I know now, but at the time I was like, oh, that's hair, that's like scalp and like juice. I guess juices and like I guess that's what the smell. I don't know. But I was like, this is a strong one, and I don't want to stay at the house, y'all. My dad be like, you want to come with me? Whose house you going to? Oh no, I'm just gonna stay here and just read a book.
That's a fact.
Good.
Oh my god.
Just put it in the paper like I was disrespectful with my dad. I was disrespectful with my mom. I'm a bad kid. I did this. I cursed my mom in the front. Well, like, just in the paper. Just put that in the paper. Trust me. When people pass and read that, they're gonna start laughing. He's gonna start feel, and some mentally gonna say, "Damn, man." Trust me. It's not like I say. You gotta work in their mind. You got.
Let me tell you something. Anya used me in one of her sentences for her definitions. The word was forgive, right? And she put in there, I forgave my mom for hitting me.
And let you read it?
Yes!
Read it to you?
Yes! I said, okay. And I took a screenshot and I sent it to my mom. I said, anytime you want to come get your grandchild, you can get her.
Wait, was she looking at you, watching your face?
Oh, I give her definitions to look up in the dictionary, and that's what she wrote as her sentence.
But when she gave it to you for you to read it, was she like look at you, watching you like,
No.
what do you feel about this? How do you feel?
Just
Did it
gave the
resonate?
book I just found. I said,
Oh my god.
so petty.
She was being like, yeah, very petty, but also like it's gonna resonate. She's gonna learn. Mommy's gonna learn her lesson. No, girl, that's not how it works.
She gets more nerves.
I feel so in the middle. You guys are talking about cell phones with kids. I kind of feel in the middle about that. Because we live in a very predatory time right now. And I kind of feel like, having a cell phone on your person could be what saves your life. So I kind of feel in the middle. I hear what you're saying though. She gets it. I hear what you're saying about waiting until the child is old enough. But what I used to do with my kids, one of the things I used to do to get them to do chores and things like that to earn their keep, I would pretend that I was an employer, and I would add, put a little sign up sheet saying I needed workers. And then they would get like real money based on what they did. So if you want these coins, you gotta work, you gotta clean the house, you gotta collect the laundry, and that's what they would do. So they earned it in that way. But yeah.
That's another thing I'm not doing.
Huh?
I'm not doing allowance.
Yeah, it's sort of like I like the creative process. I remember a parent telling I was taking a Lyft ride, and this woman was talking. I was talking to her about, trying to figure out new ways to create some kind of disciplinary plan where I don't have to be like a dinosaur stomping around my house yelling or Godzilla, because that would happen every so often. And my kids will be like, "Oh my gosh, she's coming!" My son, they would look terrified. "Oh my, God, coming!" I know she fed up because she didn't repeat it herself too many times. And no, I don't myself, girl. So this lady, she was like, "Oh, what you can do is you can make a list of, let your kids write a list of all the things that all of their chores or responsibilities, and then let them write a consequence list. They have to create their own consequences. So, they had wrote out like, oh, if I don't do my chores or something, then you can take away the PlayStation, or I have to something, just a bunch of stuff. Now it worked for probably like maybe about a good 2 weeks or so, because the other part of it was that I had to what their rewards were was like money, and I was like, I'm not giving you the money for the reward, but I'm not against it. Like if I see them doing something, I'm not gonna just create a plan where I give you the money. You have I want it to be spontaneous, where you just, you know what, you did such a great job. I'm gonna give this money. Hold on to this, because when you want to buy something for yourself, you can have it. But I've not created a system like that. I don't know why I haven't. Maybe because sometimes we were kind of broke. We was like, listen, we ain't gonna be able to follow through on this one. So that yeah.
You know,
You try to you try different things. Some things work, some things don't. But I do want to say one more thing too about the whole putting the sign on the kids and letting people laugh at them. I really don't think that today, maybe like 20 years ago, yes, you could have, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 30, 25 years ago, but today's age, with the way that social media has
live
so,
forever.
yeah, yeah,
No, I hope you have multiple kids. That way, one that wants to put you in a nursing home
yeah,
doesn't get to, because the other one wants you to be at their house.
yeah. Yeah, and that also is, it plays out. Like I know my mother-in-law used to work for like in-home care, and you would see like the siblings and how it plays out. Like which sibling felt like they got better treatment, which one didn't, which one's like, let mom just be where she's in the nursing home. We don't care about her. Like you see that stuff play out. People don't realize you got to get old too, and your kids are supposed to help take care of you. So it is a fine line.
Yeah, it's a thin line between
Mm-hmm.
hate.
I
Mm-mm-mm.
think that in terms of allowing your children to think or teaching them to think for themselves or just think at all, instead of just obeying what you're told without knowing why, a lot of
Mm.
parents do the exact opposite of that. They tell them not to think for themselves, or they don't allow them to ask any questions because,
Mm.
Oh no, I let them ask all.
one, they don't want any questions, they're too impatient to answer any questions, or two, they're too prideful or they have too much ego to acknowledge the fact that they don't know the answer.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
it's like, don't ask questions, don't call me a liar because of my hypocrisy, don't question my hypocrisy, and don't question anything that I tell you to do because I know best, because I'm the adult. And a lot of people parent that way, and it's making a whole new generation.
yeah. I let the girls question me about everything in a subjective way, meaning you can't question me while I'm telling you, but later on we could talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think to a certain degree too, it's like, you know, there is a place for children. Like, kids can't, sometimes I think when you're little, when we're little, we're very judgmental of our parents too at the same time. Cause like you do expect your parents to act, especially if you're mature enough. Like I know you were saying like you're at an age where you knew like, okay, my mom is supposed to be doing this. She's supposed to be telling me no and all this other stuff. So I think if you're mature enough where when you know that, then yes, you're going to have your judgments. We're going to want better and expect better. But I also think on the other side of it is like sometimes kids just are going to have to just deal with the fact of what their parents are telling them what to do, and that kids can want to challenge all they want, but the truth is that you don't have the wisdom. You are still 10 and 12, and even though your parents older than you and maybe they're making a bunch of mistakes, they still have a little more wisdom than you do. So I saw this dark web episode of this girl who joined this online cult that was telling her that her parents were oppressing her. And her parents, she was saying, my mom and dad never spanked me, they never did this, but sometimes they would tell me like, what you're saying is not of not importance, but you're a child basically, so what you're saying has no weight. And she felt very like oppressed that she couldn't say things growing up, and that her parents were actually taking away her ability to live life as a human being. And she went into this cult for like, I don't know how long it was for, but she was in it for a long time, and then she finally got out of it, and she realized that she learned to appreciate her parents more, because she realized that looking back, I really had great parents. They were just being parents. And I think there's a fine line in us kind of telling children. I'm not saying that she's saying that, but there is something that's out there where people are telling kids, if your parents discipline you, you have a right to call the police. I mean, discipline in terms of a spanking, yes, you could be considered abusive, I guess. I think it just
Yeah.
depends on how frequently are you getting spanked? And then what is the state going to do for the parents who are feeling sort of just exhausted? Because sometimes people just beat kids because they're just exhausted. That's the only thing they know.
Yeah.
So it's it's a village thing too.
Yeah. That's one thing you don't want to do is beat your child out of frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, ganja girl. I'm listening. I agree to an extent about not needing to. I feel like it depends on the child.
Yeah.
Some kids you might have to put the pause on them because they don't care about you taking anything away. Okay. Yeah. And sometimes they might look at you like you're a pushover. And they can do and act and be any kind of way with you. So sometimes you might have to put the fear of God, maybe only one time, but you got to put the fear of God. And another thing that I think that parents need to do is be consistently, when you tell them not to do something, don't give them multiple chances. The minute you say don't do it, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't be like, I'm not going to tell you again, and then you telling them 2 and 3 more times.
Yeah.
No, it's, I told you to cut it out, and now here comes the consequence. Like, that's it. I feel like a lot of us fall into that, and we get kids that run all over us because they know that the threshold is high.
Yeah.
Men and women do it in grown relationships to this day.
Yep.
Keep giving that woman chances to walk on you.
Yep. And people don't realize that is spoiling a child. Like it is, that is spoiled. And we used to do the same thing too. Like we would be like, okay, I'm telling you not to do, and it was really out of just being exhausted, because we were just parents for like, so that's all we were for the first of our 20s, is all we was as parents. So we were exhausted sometimes. We just would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of repeating this. Oh, I'm going to take this away from you, and then if you do this thing, I'll give it back to you, or what have you. And sometimes it will literally be like 2 or 3 days later. I'm like, okay, just give it back to him. And I realized that these kids ain't really learning anything. They're going to continue to keep pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope until it got to a point where I had to take everything away, and I've never gone back. And I've had other people say, well, why did you take this away? Like my son, he loves to like create like he goes into the paint application, and he'll make like all these like really cool graphics. And he's been doing it for a while, but I'm like, listen, you can only do that if you're doing what you're supposed to do in school. If your grades look like poo, you're not going to be able to do this. And I felt bad, but I was like, listen, I learned this from my dad too. My dad used to take away I used to love playing piano. My dad would take my piano. He would take away anything, books, everything. Just throw it in the garbage. Stuff.
Come on, nerd punishment.
Girl, the whole thing's in the garbage. I never forget that my stuffed animals were thrown in the garbage. I've never let that go because I didn't feel like it was right. But I remember I deleted everything. That whole folder was gone. And you know what? I was telling him, I was like, all right, I want to give you these things. I want to let you have these things. But if you have this talent in you, you'll create more. You'll appreciate it. You'll grow. You'll create more after this. And I just deleted everything. And I didn't feel good about it. I was like, this is just what it is. If you want things, you have to work for it. Because you ain't going to be out here stealing stuff. Okay? Because I'm not going to get you from the jail.
That's right. My brother went through a whole phase of that.
And
when my mom found like all of the things that he stole, she take the whole. It was like a one of those plastic bin containers in his room, full of Transformers.
Oh.
And she made him take all of them back to the store, and she called his dad from Florida to come pick him up. He was living in Maryland at the time. She was like, he got to live with you now. Like, she was done. Maybe she ain't disciplined, but when she was fed up, it's a wrap for you.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother was into that too. He was taking everything. My brother taught me how to steal. He was like, put this gum in your shirt. In my shirt? Oh no, put it in your underwear then. If you can't put it in your shirt. What? Why can you teach me how to steal this stuff? And I that. And I was like, this ain't right. I can't be in my life stealing like this. But he stole for a long. Mm,
My mind will eat me. Okay.
yeah,
I can't do nothing dishonest, and maybe that's a pro and a con with me. But sometimes I'm too honest to default, where I ain't even
yeah,
about the energy to remember the lie. Let me just tell you what happened.
yeah, yeah. That's another thing. It's too much to keep up with a lie, and I learned that in so many hard ways. Like you're just not going to be able to do it. You're not going to remember. Somebody's going to cat call you on it, and when they do call you on it, you're going to feel like a fool. This is
Yeah.
not worth it.
Yeah. Woo. Lord.
Freaking Deacon, you've been phased out of the program. How do you feel now? Now that you're a big asshole?
What?
What? I
Who's
don't know.
freaking?
Well, I don't know.
Something else I just thought of. You know those emo kids? Like they are something else. Like those kids who just don't care about anything.
Mm,
Yes.
Like if your parents would say like, I brought you in here, I'll take you out. They would be like, I didn't ask to be here. Go
Yep.
mm,
ahead. Like, like they don't care. And so, like, there's no real way to discipline them if they don't care.
Yeah.
If they don't care about anything. Like, leave. It's fine. I have friends. I'll go. Like,
yeah,
what do you do? It's just, they're strange in a way that is respectable, in a way that they, like, it's respectable because they understand themselves, but it's also like, how do you deal with that?
That's that passive aggressive child stuff.
yeah,
Oh, what I would do with a child that just wasn't phased by anything. I probably had to send them to boarding school.
yeah. Something hard, something boot camp,
Yeah.
scare straight. I mean, you got to try. And then if you do all that and they still don't get it, at least they know that you tried. They might hate you for all that you tried, but then when they find themselves behind bars, I mean,
Yeah.
bars. Yeah.
Listen.
Pooh Shiesty, that's my
Listen, go to bed.
I'm gonna do. You just give me a good idea. So it's education. I got 5 names because I'm a Hispanic. I got a long name. I'm gonna tell my son to write my entire name 200 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because my name is long. So I'm just saying, like, you give me that idea now, so I can do that to my kid.
My old
No.
house, she
That work.
has names, and she only has to write 2 of them. And I tell her once, like, Anya, you need to space out your words. Your words is too close together. It's sloppy. I don't like that, and I'll rip up your paper and make you do it over.
Yeah.
And after I tell you once, and you keep doing it, you gotta be like, okay, my work is done. I'm gonna rip the paper out. I'm gonna give it to you so you could copy it, and I'm gonna be like, write it over. And
Yeah.
if you write it over and it's incorrect, I'm like, you erase it and then do it again. And
Yeah.
then when the weekend comes, do you think you about to go outside? No, you practice your P's, your
Yeah.
I's, your G's, and I want them on the line. Like I'm that because I know what happens to kids who parents don't hone in on the fact that they're doing sloppy work.
Yeah.
Grow up and they are adults that cannot write
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
And you can't read anything that they're writing. And I
Yeah.
don't want that.
And these kids don't like to write. Like these kids,
Nope.
they hate writing. And my youngest son, he was up here by my mother-in-law acting a fool, just a straight up fool, just doing what he want to do. And Kevin, I don't know what he talked to him about because he don't like writing either. So we give him writing assignments too, and it's like his whole world is like, "Oh, please, like okay, like I'm so sorry. Nope,
Yes.
5 papers, back and front. And you're gonna be there if you want to be there tonight, you can be there tonight. You want to fall asleep on the table, you can fall asleep on the table. But that's
Girl.
there are other times I told my kids, listen, if y'all don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to go to sleep on the table. Like that's where you're sleeping tonight.
That was me with math. I
Yeah.
would leave math for the last thing I do because I hated it so much.
Oh, me
It was
too.
just not a connect for me. And low key, high key, I'm very happy that Anya, she'll come to me and be like, "Can you give me some math problems so I can do them? Can you
Oh,
give me
yeah.
write greater or less than on this paper?" That's what she gave me today. She was like, "Give me some problems so I can do it." I'm just like, "Girl, I hated this. I hated this. It made no sense."
Yeah. I think they didn't explain honestly. I feel like I didn't like math either, but I feel like the teachers who were teaching me it weren't teaching me right. Because the thing that
Yeah,
used to frustrate me the most is they would give you like they write out the problem on the board, right? And then when they give you the book, the example in the book, but like this problem that had nothing to do with what you just learned. And I'm like,
yeah.
so how am I supposed to put what you told me? You gave me like 3 steps in the equation. This is like 25 steps. I don't know where the other steps are going to come in here. And you want me to do what now? Or
There's a
I
there's
can
a
get what.
there's an app called Elevate, and you do pay monthly now or yearly. But when I tell you, this app is for like anybody, kids, grown-ups, adults, just so you could keep on track and you don't forget like the fundamentals and stuff. It does a breakdown of what are some multiple ways you can get the answer. And I
Mm,
said, so that was the problem. The teacher was teaching me one way when there was
yeah,
like two other ways
yep,
to get the answer.
yep,
And I kid you not, a lot of the things on there is kind of like, dang, if they was teaching me this way, I would have been had it.
yep, yep. You know what's one? I know this is gonna sound real crazy. This is sort of off topic, but what's his name? Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
He had this theory that, well, he did some kind of mathematic equation that he has this theory that like 1 times 1 equals 2. And I remember like when I listened to him, I was like, that's what I always thought when I was a kid. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Because if 2 times 2 equals 4, and 3 times 3 equals 6, and 6 times 6 equals 12, and 4 times 4 equals 60, like why is it that 1 could equal 2, but 1 times 1 can't equal 2? And I feel like when I let my kids watch it, right? And I was like, what do y'all think about this? My old youngest son is very like loves math. And he was just like, well, it doesn't make any sense because one can only go into one.
Once.
He was explaining it how he was taught, like one, but he was like, but I have questions though, because if 2 is a value times itself equals 4, then why isn't 1 as a value times itself equals 2? And I was like, well, how would you get to the other? Like, how would you continue to go forth after 1 times 1? But we really sat down and we had a whole conversation about it. And I was like,
It's
I feel
not
like
a
they didn't
value
teach it right.
because
Huh?
society teaches one is not a value because society teaches you that if you ain't got two people, you ain't got nothing, and your taxes is gonna be less.
Right. That's the only, something is wrong in that. Like I do feel like it needs to be investigated. I don't mean I'm not a mathematician, but I do feel like there's some things that I felt like wasn't really explained or was missing. And I feel like I probably have the ability, you probably have the ability to learn math. It's just how we were taught. And the systems that's here right now is what they have. But maybe in long time, maybe 1,000, 5,000, 8,000 years ago, some of that stuff made more sense than what it does now because some of the they teach it. I just like this is not
Want
connected.
society to come to a point and say, you know what? After addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, everything
Yeah,
else is an experiment, and we're sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Because I don't use nothing else to figure out how to adult but the basics.
yeah,
So y'all just frustrated me in fifth grade all the way
yeah,
up to 12th grade, and then I
yeah,
went to college and y'all frustrated me for 4 years.
yeah, yeah. Unnecessarily.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because let me tell you, when I got to make a payment arrangement and push that gas bill back,
yeah.
ain't no math involved.
Exactly.
I just need to know the
Exactly.
date and I need to know the full amount that needs to be paid by that date.
Exactly.
Ugh,
Mm,
I
mm, mm,
cannot.
mm.
All right. The last two that's on my list of what I don't allow is regular YouTube to be downloaded on anything.
Mm.
I can watch it on my TV with them, and them telling me no.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good one. That I'm telling you, no, is definitely important. There's no. I agree on that one. I think my last two is I don't allow them to clean like you're not allowed to clean any like history on your computer. Like I don't even touch it. Don't
Oh,
don't play me. If
you
it's
know
clear,
how
we're
you know
having a conversation. If there's no history available, not that I've ever had that situation, but I'm just not even allowing it to be like a thing.
here,
Don't do me. Don't do
wa-
me. Okay?
girl. When I watch adult flicks on my phone,
Okay.
I still wipe the history as if somebody could go on my phone and look. Like ain't nothing sitting on my phone. Nothing.
You can't. Especially since these kids are like, Mommy, can I use your, I have to do an assignment with my phone, with your phone. Uh, my phone?
You know what
Uh,
Ari does? Ari be like, my iPad's dad. Can I call my dad? And she'll FaceTime her dad as soon as the call drop, and she'll go looking through my call log. Who's that?
oh,
Girl,
Lord.
mind your business. No, you're not FaceTime nobody else.
Oh, my gosh. They are so nosy, though. I was
Yeah,
nosy, too. I was a nosy kid. I'm not
very,
going to lie.
very nosy. I got some boundaries that I feel like kids need that I'm
Yeah.
gonna run through because we really been on here since 9 o'clock, and I don't want
Yeah.
to. Boundaries that I feel like kids need is understanding of personal space.
Yeah.
Uh, when adults talk, you need to be quiet and stay out of it.
Yes.
How to wear their clothes properly.
Oof.
Manners they should have always.
Yeah.
Um, explaining to them the negative outcome of their thinking before their actions.
Mm.
I think that's preventative. I'm a preventative parent,
Yeah.
and them just practicing honesty.
Yes. Yes. And being able to practice honesty in all forms, right? Because
Yeah.
lying is such a tricky thing. There's so many different ways that you can lie. There's so many, just it's just so many. And I think the boundary is that I think we don't pay attention to, because as adults we make up lies. We find creative ways to lie all the time, especially to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the first lie we tell is to ourselves. But the boundaries that I have for mine is really just number one, not just taking everybody for what they are just because they tell you they're your friend.
Right.
Like,
I'm asking Anya, what is a friend though?
yeah, yeah. And with with our kids, I don't know how many years this was ago, but we sat down and I was like, "Who's your first best friend?"
Mm-hmm.
And the first best friend, yeah, who's your first best friend? Mm. I was like, look to the left, look to the right of you. Those your siblings are your first best friends. Like that's how you learn how to treat people, is first knowing that this is your first best friends. Um, and I mean, of course, they still fight and everything, but they have grown into being very respectful of each other for the most part. The boys still do whatever. Another boundary is I don't let them just go and even though they have access to the phone, like they need to ask for permission. They need to know how to talk to people when they're calling people. My oldest son, it's like he forgets, that he gets nervous. So he'll be like, like he doesn't like he'll when he has to reach out to his teacher, like I saw some of his emails and he's just like, I didn't get the assignment. Who are you talking to? You can't just send an email to your teacher telling them I need the assignment. I need. Excuse me, sir. Good evening, Mrs. My name is Ari. I'm in the class, whatever, and this is what I need help with. Or can you please help me with getting this information? And I thought it was so strange because we talk very like the way that we talk, we're very consistent in how we speak to them because we want them to mimic, you have to, there's a proper way for everything. So that's one thing too, boundaries and how they communicate. Like you need to know how to talk to people. You can't just talk to people any way you want to because you are uncomfortable. Like get past that, look people in their eyes and speak clearly to them. That's another thing with boundaries as well, is like holding yourself with not high but not looking down when you're talking to people because that's the first way that people will see that there's an insecurity and they can take advantage of you.
Yeah. Look people in the eyes.
Yes. Look people in the eyes. Number one, it's told most people that you're trustworthy, that you're coming correct.
Mm-hmm.
Another boundary is I don't agree. I also agree that I don't like them being around grown adult conversations unless it is talking about kids and I want to hear their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And another boundary too is, them not putting themselves below anyone else because they're afraid to speak up. Like there's a fine line of speaking up and saying things and being respectful, but you also don't have to cower to people. Like
Mm-hmm.
understand that there's a boundary that you can put between you and someone else by being honest and speaking up, but you don't ever cower. So
Yeah.
those are my things.
Mm-hmm. I love those. And I think it's very important to problem solve with your kids.
Yeah.
Uh, Remind them that they deserve to feel safe and to have
Yeah.
safe. And what I believe kids need is they need to play outside,
Yes.
need to be able to play in the dirt, they need to
Yeah.
explore. Kids need brain challenging games and not games that give them another level of reality that they're already living.
Yes.
And less time online, and they need to be active because we have more overweight kids now than we ever have. Because I
Yeah.
remember going to school and there was like one fat person,
Yes.
fat
There was
kid.
always one.
Now it's like at least six to a class.
Yeah.
So
And this whole thing too of like, because it's a problem, because and people don't realize it's not a problem because of the what you look like on the outside. It's a problem because we know what the health effects are.
yeah,
And this whole culture of like it's okay to just be like, we don't want to body shame people. Nobody's trying to shame anyone. That's another thing too. Like shame is okay. Like shame is necessary. It's there for a reason. It's supposed to correct bad behavior. It's supposed to reinforce good behavior. And we're in trouble if we don't get that perspective with the look at the perspective that perspective with the sense of maturity.
it's balance. It's kind
Yeah.
of like I got mad when people were on this kick of, you know, comedians have to apologize for their past stand up. No, they don't.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they're
No, they don't.
at that time, they need to be able to see their growth.
Mhm. 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 Yeah. It's too much. It's a lot of sensitivity. And
Yes.
that's like, yes, kids are going to be sensitive too. That's fine. That's what they're supposed to be at that age, right? Then you show them how to learn how to cope with different things. And to your point, when some of these comedians say what they say, just like with us, if we look back 5, 10, 15 years ago, there's a whole bunch of things we said that we like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that now. Like the R word to explain somebody's mental capacity. I would
Yeah.
never use the word. And I remember when it was like a funny thing that people would use.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if somebody gets caught saying it now, it's kind of silly. But I do think though, I'm not against people holding historical figures accountable for their heinous crimes when we're celebrating them for things like Christopher Columbus, or some of these presidents who were responsible for doing horrible things. Yes, that was the time that they lived in, but they also had a choice. And yeah, they can be held accountable. The comedians is different. Comedians are supposed to tell you the truth in a way that's funny, and it may sound offensive, but I think people just don't understand. I think there's too many misinterpretations and not enough people studying it as a misinterpretation, so that they don't go on this rampage of being like, we need to cancel them for everything.
Yes. No. No. You don't need to cancel anybody. We like the name game is the most basic one for kids. Anya, Bobanya, Chikalanya, Fifanya. I remember thinking about Anya's name while I was pregnant, and I said, that's not bad. I don't feel like that's a bad tease with the name game. That name could work. Ari, Bobari, Chikalari, Fifari. That's not a bad, thing. I don't even know if kids do the name game, but I remember if your name was tricky and it sounded weird, you were the most embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that's how I went through picking my kid's name, because I wanted to make them feel okay by their name. And if kids can't have the name game, and your children don't know how to bounce back from, oh, they're teasing me, then your child is going to be unbalanced as an adult. You have to have some things that are uncomfortable with your kids
Yeah.
that to work through, and you have to have some things that make them feel really good. But you
Yeah.
can't have all the good stuff and not have the negative stuff, because that's going to be an easy way to throw them off.
Yeah. People have to stop being scared
Yeah.
of like failing. Like parents have to stop being afraid of failing, and then also have to stop like comparing themselves to other parents. Like it's okay for you to stay in your own lane as a parent. You can
Mm-hmm.
learn from other parents too, but be stand your ground. If you don't want to get your kids a cell phone, you don't have to. Other
Yeah.
parents shouldn't try to make people feel like they have to do that. I regret the day that I let my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, get access to Snapchat. Not that I gave it to her, but my sisters were like, she's old enough now to. My parents like, she's old enough now to. We're gonna get her a phone, and I'm like, I appreciate the gesture,
Yeah.
but nah,
Yeah.
nah. No. Sometimes you just know what's best. Not sometimes. As a parent, you know what's best.
Yeah.
But if you see me start choking my child out of note, like I'm just choking, I'm just beating them. Call the police. Call somebody. You can
Come
intervene.
get me.
I have lost it. I don't know how to be a mother anymore. I'm a dinosaur. I'm Godzilla. I'm tearing this place.
I'm gonna play these voicemails
Okay.
so we can get back to living, because it is 12:46 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, it's your boy Blue Eye Warrior 3 here, just giving y'all a quick shout out. Y'all doing an awesome job. Hope
Thank
to
you.
get to talk to y'all soon. Add me and we'll schedule it out and we'll get it cracking. Alright guys, have a wonderful night.
Blue
Yeah.
Eyed Warrior. Okay. Thank you.
You talk about The Sims, Ruth. That's what you're
I wish
talking. The game The
they played
Sims.
Sims.
Oh,
She's talking about Fortnite.
I so miss playing Sims. Like I feel guilty not playing it because I'm like, I'm playing life, but I have life to live and I'm not playing life. Like I literally had to have a talk, like a come to Jesus moment with myself about playing The Sims. Yeah, I miss it.
Oh, okay, Fortnite. All right. I don't play video game no more. I stopped
Yeah.
playing.
All right, your grandma's phone and be like, "Where's your games?" I said, "Girl, click on Georgia Power, on the water, click on Vimo, where I spend most of my money on the rent.
Right.
Look at my email, and hopefully your dad just send some money. Cash App, when people feeling nice, like those are my games."
Speaking of food,
Crazy.
even okay, anything that is enriched with iron, most
Mm,
of the time it's actual iron. That not the kind that you find naturally in food. It's like there's videos that you can go online and find of people crushing up bags of cereal, putting it in water, and using a magnet to pull out the iron. And sometimes it's not just like a little piece of iron. It's like a good sized chunk of iron follicles or mineralized
True,
pieces
educate me.
that is in these
mm.
cereals and
These magnets.
these whole grains that it's whole grain. Yeah, well, it has literal metals in it, even more metals than we already intake on a daily basis from the water and everything else they feed us.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
careful. Mineral water too.
Mm. It's so much that you learn every day. And it's so hard because there's a part of you that's like, I know there's decisions and choices that I can make. And then there's also the part of you that's like, okay, but even in those decisions and choices, I could also still be being harmed. But you try to figure out the best thing like that works for you. But every
Yeah.
day. At some point, we have to have our own garden. We gonna have to grow our own gardens. I mean, I know people are doing that already,
But you know
but
what's so crazy even with that, you
yeah,
these companies that's selling the pesticides, they own the seeds.
yeah.
Every company has its own seed. So even the crops that you grow from whatever you plant is still GMO'd, it's still genetically modified, it's still, you know, interrupted from its natural state. It's no escaping it. And the more you start looking into what's in our food, the more you just like, you know what? I could go like a month or two without eating anything. Like it gets really
Mm,
crazy. It gets really crazy because there's no escaping it unless you live out of the United States and you live somewhere where um, nothing is tampered with. It's in
mm,
its normal state. But I watch so many things and I read so much that we're gonna get to a year where it's going to be more trash in the water than there is going to be marine life.
mm. Oh
Uh,
my God. Hey, I
throw
think
off.
there's already. I think they shared that there's more man-made material on this planet than there are living things, which
Yeah.
is that's trouble. I don't think we realize that. I know we can't see it right now because it doesn't feel immediate, but that is, I mean, Mars ain't gonna save us. Like, what's the song that Tribe Called Quest has? They got a space program for us. What's that song? Uh,
I know what you're talking about.
Move on to the stars. Ain't a space program for us. It was somebody. They gonna leave us niggas behind. Like straight up. Like there ain't no Mars for us. We not going. And if we go, they're not gonna make it. So let's fix what we have down.
Listen, I ain't fooling with space. Y'all got that.
Yeah.
Ain't doing it.
Speaking of Lunchables, I worked very, very briefly, at a factory that made or packaged the Lunchables. Like,
Mm-hmm.
put all the cheese and the Oreos or whatever the heck in the Lunchables. I would
Mm.
never recommend anyone eat a Lunchable. Just don't. I don't even see how people eat Lunchables. Like, especially the ham one. Like, the smell of the ham made me nauseous.
Mm. Yes. Yes.
That's
Oh.
why I stopped working there. It made me nauseous to smell the ham in
Mm.
large quantities. And I can't, like, people, this, I don't see how people eat them, or how, okay, I can see how people eat them, but I don't see how people eat them knowing that a human was breathing all over it.
Mm. Mm.
Tell you something. When I was pregnant with Anya, I couldn't stand the smell of Subway. Mind you,
Mm.
before I got pregnant, I can eat like a whole 12-inch sub, like down one sitting by myself, everything on it. Like it was nothing, and I couldn't stand the smell. And even after I had her, I couldn't stand the smell. Then when I got pregnant with Arya, same thing. I can't walk into a Subway to this day. If
Mm.
somebody puts out a Subway sandwich, I can't stand it. It's disgusting to me. It makes me nauseous.
I mean, the sandwich meat in the Lunchables. I mean, when I saw metal in the meat, and I was like, "Why is this thing shining like this?"
Oh
But
no!
hard piece? What? It wasn't even like a thick piece. It was just like enough that I can chew, or like the plastics in it. I don't even know. I don't even know how we've gone on in this country this long with the food being the way that it's been. Like I remember eating Taco Bell for like the last time, and all of us had diarrhea. Older kid, the kids still remember to this day. My oldest daughter, they was probably like 8 and 6 or something like that. They still remember it to this day that Taco
Oh,
Bell gave us diarrhea, and there was like, "Mommy, I felt like I ate garbage," and I was like, "I think we all feel like that." And
girl, when
fast
they
food,
showed that somebody posted a video that worked there, and they showed the meat that they get out the packaging,
yes,
and they throw water on it. This shit just comes alive. I'm just like, what is this?
yeah, and they called it the secret ingredient, and they had the nerve to publish it as a secret and other secret ingredients. That means there are either animals, people. That's all I heard. Animals, people, and that's it. That's all I got. It's just animals and people. Some one of the two. I will never eat Taco Bell. I don't know. I'm sorry if there's anybody that's in here eating Taco Bell. You're eating trash.
Oh
It is garbage in a facility that they call secret ingredients, and them secret ingredients is jacking up your whole digestive tract. You don't want to know why you always have diarrhea? You're eating
my
trash.
God. Jesus.
That's it. Sorry.
Right.
The messages, but it was important to place that boundary. Don't eat Taco Bell's trash. You won't have a stomach. Your ass won't work. You'll be asking why. And all we said to you on this is that you're eating trash.
I haven't had Taco Bell since college. That must have been like '07.
Girl. You through. You skated by. You
Oh my God.
With my son is basically when I'm gonna tell you once, and then the second time I'm gonna show you what time it is,
Hey.
and I make sure he knows that his job is to get good grades, keep his room clean, and to respect other people. Now, when he's off his job, I have to remind him what his job is.
mm, 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 mm. That's what I'm talking about.
What I can't stand is smart-mouthed children.
Yeah.
I kind of flinch around smart-mouthed children. My hand has a reflex of a mind of its own. So when I hear a smart mouth child, I kind of exit to the left because I said I'm not gonna be hanging around my friends, and some of my friends who do have smart mouth children, I kind of tend to wait and hang out with them when they're not with their children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand it either. And I can't stand a child to talk in front of. Don't disrespect your parents in front of me. I'm gonna call you out on it. That's
Oh
the
yeah.
one thing. Hey, mm-mm.
Can we have a clap for the friends who check your kids while y'all out because you can't get to them first?
Mm, mm,
Thank
mm,
I appreciate all of that. That's so
mm,
needed.
mm.
You can have friends and family that you love and care about, and you cannot stand their children.
Yes,
I have
that's
a
a.
cousin where her son is just like the nuisance of sperm. I'm just like, girl, who's coming? And then once you give me the rundown list and that child is a part of it, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here because it's his mom disciplined him like a man since he
Ooh,
was a baby to the
ooh,
point how he is a teen and nothing makes him flinch.
oh,
And
oh.
I can't deal with that because I'm not gonna fight you like a man for you to listen. So you are just mm-mm.
So he one of them kids, you ever seen like my niece started to get to that point where I remember the last time her mom okay, the last time her mom spanked her, and then I remember the time when she had to come over to my house because she fought her mom back. Now mind you, and this is a household where I've seen my stepsisters fight my stepmom. It's just like this is what it is. So of course she saw it. But I saw her get a spanking one time, and my sister was just spanking her, and she was just standing there, and she was taking the hits, and I was like, "This is gonna turn into something that I don't want to see." So I'm gonna go, y'all. She's not crying. She's
Yo,
not.
that's crazy.
She's just standing there and staring and angry. And then the next time it was a fight. Nope.
Mm,
Nope.
no, no.
Mm-mm.
I suggest that every person with a male child. Let them see episodes of Lockup. And I mentioned to my son, ain't no pussy in jail, you see? And you see what all those boys is in there because they didn't listen to their parents and they had a rebellious spirit and they weren't leaders. All followers are in there.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful of that too. Kids following other people. I think that's probably the scariest thing that I've had that I was afraid of.
Mm.
But I won't go too deep into it. But yeah, that is a scary thing. Is you hope that you to teach your kids, to be strong, but you never know who can have the influence because people do have can have power over other people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny when I take the girls to the park. Anya, she usually never wants to play with Ari, and that's fine. I don't think they should always play with each other.
Yeah.
But there's always like some other kid that wants to play with Anya, and they want to drag Anya all over the park. And Anya's like, I don't want to play with you. I'm just here at the park. And then they just stand there and look at her like, oh, she speaks for herself.
Yeah.
It's important for your kids to be able to say that and be
Yes.
comfortable.
Yes. Mm.
Super important.
Especially girl.
Boarding school and military school. An adult shouldn't have to tiptoe around a house that they pay for. Be worried about their credit cards, their pocketbook.
Yeah.
I wish there were easier outlets for people who don't have the funds to put their children in military and boarding school. I mean, the investment is a good thing and a peace of mind. So I even say, push come to shove, use some of your retirement to send them off.
But let me tell you, I have a cousin, an older cousin that his mom sent him to boarding school. It don't fix him. They still lazy as ever. They still come out looking for, a shortcut. They still come out hoping that they can find somebody else their age to depend on and lean on and take advantage of. So sometimes, like I said earlier, your kids are just like the demons within.
Mm. Mm.
So keep that in mind.
I think that is very admirable that you're trying to encourage and grow your child's intellect education in terms of them correcting themselves when they're doing something wrong, like speaking or saying something wrong or writing wrong. I've definitely seen this in person, and my step niece was saying something. She says her words in a way that I did not know what she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was in the South. I grew up in Florida. I was in Florida. And even with the Southern accent that I understand, she had a lisp and missing teeth. So it was like, I don't know what she was saying. But when I found out what she was saying, I was like, that's not how you say that. And it wasn't just one word. It was like everything that she was saying. It's like, no one's gonna correct her. They just kind of ignored her if they didn't understand what she was saying. And it's like, well, it's your fault. You're not teaching her to correct. So now she's gonna grow up saying things wrong, and everyone's gonna think she's dumb.
Yep.
Exactly. It's when I moved here to Georgia. I was in high school. I was in 11th grade, and the kids were saying, "Why you talk like that?" And I'm just like, "Talk like why you talk like?"
Right there.
I was like, I'm just speaking English. It's English is the regular language. Mm,
Yeah.
I don't know, but what you finna do?
Yep.
What is finna do?
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah.
What's next? Like, and it was that, and then with my kids, they're born and raised in Anya was born in Florida, but I brought her right up here like a week after I had her, so they may pick up on some Atlanta, way of
Yeah.
saying, but I quickly correct that
Yeah.
because um you gotta break habits before they start being like, this is just how I am.
Yes.
Because, you speaking properly is not white.
Yeah.
Speaking properly is you speaking properly.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have to get out of that because saying shortcut words, you're going to shortcut your intelligence.
Yeah. 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 There was a conversation about that. We were talking about colorism, and it kept coming up that, whenever you're using the vernacular, when you start talking like you're, like quote unquote white around white other people, but you're also around black people who don't talk like that you are singling them black people out in order to fit in with white people. And I'm like, no, any
Enough.
audience that you're around, you will address. Like, there's sometimes I talk like how I talk, but I also have like a little twang. I've been in Atlanta for a long. You're gonna learn it. It's gonna be a part of you. You're gonna have a little something, 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 something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting because I remember being in school, and remember there was always anytime that you was gonna be the kid that was gonna be the one that does what they're supposed to do, people gonna be like, "Oh, you acting white? You think you smarter than me?" All that stuff, and it
Yep.
never. It look what it has done. Like that doesn't. It's silly. It's just. It's like the crab barrel. It's like people pulling at you to pull you down just so they can feel okay with the fact that they have the shortcomings. Like you don't have to have shortcomings. There are books. There
Yeah.
is a way to yourself too. You just choosing not to, and now you're mad at me.
That
No.
goes back to that crab in the barrel thing. If you
Yeah.
don't do the same thing we all do, then you're trying to be better than us, or you think you're better than us, or you're them if you're not us. And it's not that.
Yeah.
It's there is a correct way to do something, and
Yeah.
I'm choosing to do the correct way. There
Yeah.
is also an opportunity for you to choose this, but you chosen not to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a time.
Yeah.
But math is definitely one of my favorite subjects. Specifically
Okay,
geometry,
come
but
on,
besides
nerd.
that's besides the point. In terms of math, like times, the simplest way that I would be able to explain to someone, especially children, what multiplying is like 2 times 2 is 2 times, which is 4. Or 500 times 200, that's 500, 200 times, or 200 500 times. And so 1 times 1 is 1 time, which is 1 because it was only one time. Like, that is the simplest way I can think of to explain, especially to children, like what times tables and multiplication is.
I understood
Yeah.
that. Let me tell you where math lost me at the beginning. This is where it all started. The genesis of where math had me f word up. When my teacher was like, "All right, we're gonna do long division and we're gonna carry this. What are we carrying, and who does it belong to? What are you
Mhm.
talking
Mhm.
about? Why are we carrying numbers?" I was so upset at long division. You do not understand. So, yeah, that's where math had me all messed up. And then here comes algebra, thinking it's
Yes.
cute. I'm just like, why are we putting alphabets in math problems?
Oh, that one right there. And no, and then the graphs. I was like, what the fuck is this with the graphs? Why am I, what is, how is
Yeah,
this helping? I can't. And then I remember the kids would come with their T83 calendars and I'll be in calculators
yeah,
and be plugging in the quote, the equation. I'm like, well, how did you even get, listen to me. I remember when we had in Florida, they have you take the ACT and the ACT and the SAT. And then there's also the state test. So they were
yeah.
basically teaching us how to take the test, right? So one of the tests, you have to write out how you got to the problem, got to the solution. That math section came, I think I must have passed it by like a point. I wrote out everything and how my mind made sense of how I got to that. I don't care how wrong it was, but if you was gonna grade my writing about how I got to it, I think I must have passed it based off of what I wrote because I wrote very thoroughly about how I got to that. But that shit was so.
I wrote. My teacher knew I was making up stuff. My teacher was so petty. They would go into my breakdown and circle the parts where I was right. I'm just like, don't you got 30 other pages to look at? Why are you spending time? Look at my details. Move along.
Don't ain't no these damn teachers.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Math got to a point where I didn't even write my name on the paper no more. I would just draw around the borders of my paper. My teacher knew this was like I'm not. This is not worth my energy. Like
And
it
was you telling your teacher to do better? You do better, ma'am. You teach me the right way, so I know. I'm exactly what I learned.
fed up. Fed up.
Lord, I've been to jail 6 times for choking children in this 20th century.
Okay, so I just joined the chat and I was looking at the title, Kids Acting Grown Ain't Cute.
Yeah.
In what form do you mean? Like kids getting, like, I get what you're saying, but like how do you feel about kids working, like actual jobs when they turn about, like, say 15?
That's
How do you
fine.
feel about that?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I had 3 jobs from age 16 all the way up to 28.
Yeah.
On
Work is
my
good.
life, honey.
Yeah. Work is always good. Never gonna be if a child doesn't have to work, great. But if you want to work, fine. If you can manage it, great. If you need to work, oh well.
Yeah. This was good though. I appreciate you guys sticking around and
Yeah.
listening to us and giving us feedback and messages. Um,
Yes.
this is like a four
I
plus hour
know.
show. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to chop this up, but I'm gonna try.
Maybe the
Uh,
first 2 hours, I guess. Maybe first 1 hour, 2 hours.
listen, I'm gonna try. But it was good though. Anybody that has any last messages, drop it. Eruth
Yeah.
and I give you guys a little about where you can find us. All right, so for me, I come on here on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights to do Loudmouth Stereo with Greg. This week is kind of tricky for Greg. So we scheduled a show tonight with Eruth and I because we can do that. All right.
Bam.
We always have something to talk about. We will do more shows. Will it be on Saturdays? I'm not sure yet, but catch it when you catch it. You can
Yes.
find me on IG and Twitter at She Gets It Pod. You can find She Gets It Podcast on all of your podcast platforms. And this show will be on here for you to listen the whole way through if you want to in about 10 minutes after we get out of here. And I will be on here tomorrow doing a show with who am I doing a show with tomorrow? I'm doing a show with Sage 704. We're talking about Jamaican restaurant etiquette.
Mm.
So people know what to do and what not to do when they go to a Jamaican restaurant because attitudes be high.
Yeah. And you get cussed out real fast while you
Yeah.
get food served and read and told.
Yeah. So I'll be doing a show tomorrow, which is rare. I really don't do shows on on Sundays, but we are here.
Yeah.
But Ruth, tell these people where to find you so you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
sleep.
Uh, I am on IG. You can tap to press on my photo, my picture, and see what my IG, my Twitter. IG is Eruth's Looking Glass. Twitter is I don't remember. I'm sorry. It's also the Looking Glass though too. I do have a Facebook page. It's called The Looking Glass, just straight up. And it just covers a lot of the topics that I talk about in my talks and the things that I post on my IG page. And usually Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, Kevin and I do live shows. I also do shows with Shan. I also do another show with Music Nomad. I'm trying to get into getting more time to listen to and get into more talks with other folks. I just don't know how that's gonna ever work out. But I hope that I get some time off of work for real. So I
Yeah.
can start sharing more content. I do have a YouTube page, but I've not been working it like I should. That was actually being treated as our visual pod so far. So there's more things coming with that, but for now you can catch me on the places you see me on. My
Yes.
yes.
We appreciate you guys tonight. Thank you
Yes.
for staying and clapping it up and leaving messages. Don't forget to follow anybody that you listen to tonight in the chat that you think is very interesting. We appreciate it. Thank you for checking us on stereo. Find us elsewhere, but we will be back.
Yes. Have a good night, everyone, and a good Sunday.
Morning.
You too, Shan.
Bye.
Bye.